Hello, fellow Gwent players, and welcome to a little patch review. You might hear from my voice, I'm feeling a little under the weather, which is why I can't be doing any meme cards videos. So I'll do a short video, where I'll be talking about the new patch 10.5. Yeah, my throat is really killing me, so I don't think I'll be talking too much. I mean, I'll try to keep it short. Let's just say it like this. So yeah, I won't be reading this. I'll just be like looking at everything that's new. So the general consent is that they're going to be reworking a lot of neutrals. Death Wish Monsters is getting some support, and they have the timer keyword. So the timer keyword here is, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, actually. Yeah, I think that's better like this. So before the end of your turn, lower the number by 1. When the number reaches 0, trigger the ability. So this is going to be on cards like Ciri Dash, Megascope, Scoia'tael Commander, etc. Which is pretty huge because the timer abilities will now trigger before all end of turn effects. Which means cards like Portal and Megascope summon an engine card and its end of the turn ability will trigger. Which is insane. Especially for Megascope. Megascope probably is the biggest sort of buff. Like, this is a huge buff to Megascope. It's also huge to Saskia because when you pull out like that Witcher, it's pretty good. There's also other timer cards that will be mentioned throughout the patch notes, so we'll be talking about those and what changes will be made, or like what kind of changes will sort of come in effect where it does make a difference. But I think with Megascope and Scoia'tael Commander, those two are the biggest ones out of all of this. And we also have Geralt and Ciri make a comeback. Choose which journey you want to progress and return where you left off. Big for Ciri because I never actually finished the Ciri one. That one was, I think, being the second journey, they kind of went overboard with how much you actually need to do to unlock the good rewards. And with the good rewards, I mean the Japanese weep style costumes and things around that. So yeah, so we have rewards, progress, new types of trinkets, new weekly quests, story. All right, sure, whatever. Like, this is this is not really that interesting to me, so I will just pass it. Let's look at the neutrals now. So we have the Ciri Dash with a tooltip. It's not going to be that effective with Ciri Dash. It doesn't really make a difference, I think. Hengave Sword got a rework. So card type changed from artifact to special. Ability changed to echo. Damage an enemy unit by 5, then spawn and play a base copy of the stored units and give it doomed. Death Blow, banish the unit and store its soul in the Hengave Sword. I don't understand the second text, so it banishes the unit, and I don't get the store its soul in the Hengave Sword. The stored is a weird word. Why not damaged? Why stored? I don't get that. But this card is kind of crazy, right? You're basically, it's like coup de grace. Isn't it just like a better coup de grace? It feels like it's a better coup de grace. This card seems pretty nuts, honestly. I don't know how exactly it works. I need to figure that out. But this seems very, very strong. Hengave Sword definitely seems incredibly strong. Mysterious Puzzle Box, tooltip adjusted to include missing information. Now, I mean, this is probably, they probably didn't change this at all. So I think this is just to make it more clear what the card actually does, because it's probably one of the most convoluted cards in the game for new players to sort of figure out. We got Portal. Portal is, the timer change to Portal is huge, to be fair. Like, Portal will definitely, I'm not sure it'll see play. It would have to probably get lower provisions to see play again, or have its old effect. That's definitely something. Next up, we have Ring of Favor. Provisions change from 8 to 9. Base boost change from 4 to 3. So it got nerfed by 2 provisions. The 9 provisions still makes it playable in Nova decks and Necker decks, so that's probably the intention of it. I think Ring of Favor is it is a bit of a problem card, right? It shouldn't be auto-include in every deck. But right now, I still think this card will definitely be auto-include in pretty much every deck. Because it starts with 3, then it goes to 5, then it goes to 7, then to 9. So it starts off as a 9 for 9, basically. Because you have to play the 3 cards anyway in your opener. And then from there on, it just goes 11... 11, 13, 15, 17. Whereas it used to be 18 by that point. I don't think that 1 point really makes a difference in that case, because once you get to like the last cards, it's just going to be 20 plus anyway for 9 provisions, which makes the card super, super strong. What I would have liked is for this card to have a bit of a cap, to sort of not be able to go above like 18 or something. Or maybe not 18, but like 16, because the card that's 8 provisions, and then you get doubled its provision value just by kind of waiting a few turns to play it. I don't think this is going to change much. I think this card will still be one of the most played cards in a lot of decks, because the card just is essential to the way Gwent works with round 1 and round control, where Ring of Favor just kind of plays for a lot of points that you need in a game where winning round 1 is quite important. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna change much. I think Ring of Favor's design in generally is incredibly strong, where even if it was printed like this from the start, people would have still played it as much as they do or have been doing. Shere Khan, now with the new timer keyword, this is not gonna be effective at all. This is not gonna change anything in my eyes. Sea Heal. Card type change from artifact to special. Provision cost change from 11 to 12. Ability change to damage an enemy unit by 1. Deathblow. Play a bronze card from your hand and move Sea Heal back to your hand. Initiative. Also increase the damage by 1 for the rest of the game. Whew. This one's difficult to assess. It's a very weird ability, right? Because play a bronze card from your hand and move Sea Heal back to the hand. It's very interesting, but the problem is this card kind of needs to be. Oh, this one's difficult. I remember old Sea Heal. I'm kind of weirded out that they changed it like this. They changed a lot of the artifacts for sure, but they changed this when they didn't change Mahakam Ale. Did they change Mahakam? They didn't change Mahakam Ale. That's crazy. Wow, that's actually crazy. So they changed this card, but they didn't change Mahakam Ale, which is arguably one of the worst cards in the game with the current state. Because now Wyvern Skill Shield has been buffed as well, as I saw back in the bottom. I don't know. I mean, this card doesn't seem that powerful. Maybe I'm just being a bit silly, but dealing like 1 damage to play a card from your hand, it has to be so if your like entire hand is gold, this plays for 1, right? Play a bronze card from the move Sea Heal back to your hand. Yeah. An initiative. Also increase the damage by 1 for the rest of the game. What? 1 damage seems so bad though. And it has to be Deathblow. This feels pretty weak. This feels pretty bad, actually. Come to think of it, this might actually be... I might be wrong, but this card seems pretty bad. 12 provisions, deal 1 to play a bronze. And then you deal 2 to play another bronze. But you have to set it up as well, right? It seems quite bad, honestly. It seems pretty bad. It's kind of like... Yeah, I feel like it plays pretty bad. I feel like this card's pretty bad, honestly. So, yeah. Wait, but how does... Okay, so you play a bronze from your hand. So you play the card. You deal 1 damage, so you played the card. And, okay, you're playing 2 cards, and then you move. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I was thinking about, like, card advantage if there was something there. But, yeah, there isn't. So Stregobor with the new timer keyword. Yeah, same with dash. This isn't going to make that much of a difference. Summoning circle provision cost change from 6 to 8. Ability change to resilience. Deploy, choose a unit from your deck and set the counter to that unit's provision cost. Before the end of your turn, remove a counter from self for each adjacent unit. When the counter reaches 0, summon the chosen unit from your deck to this row and destroy self. So this one's a counter. Wait, how does counter and timer work? I think counter is still like how old cooldown, no, not cooldown, but countdown works. So I think this is at the end of all the play abilities. But this is really, really scary, actually. For the end of your turn, remove counter for self for each. So okay, so before the end of the turn, so it does actually work like the timer would. So it would spawn and then trigger, right? Before the end of the turn. Counter some of the chosen unit from your deck. This seems like a pretty strong card, especially because it has resilience. Like you play this in round 1. This is like an you play Avalak with this 100%. This is like a very good card for like Skellige, where they can just like get a greatsword out. Yeah, like getting greatsword out with this seems pretty good. It thins your deck. Also, like Utah is pretty decent. I mean, you can. Is there any like weird combo? Like, I guess you can like. No, there's no Idaran combo you can really do here. But it summons from the deck. The problem is like if your resilience, if this resilience. Wait, does this work with Dwim? I think this works with Dwim, right? Because if it works with Dwim, this is actually quite powerful. I think it should, right? Because it's not an order, though, right? Yeah, no, it's not an order. Dwim re-enables the order ability of location cards, not the ability of the location cards. So it doesn't work with Dwim. But this is still pretty interesting. I'm not sure exactly what kind of deck you would play around this. A defender's, like, getting defender with this seems pretty interesting, but, like, at the same time, you want to play the defender as soon as possible. It's uninteractive as well, which is pretty good. Yeah, it seems like a pretty okay card. Is it going to be competitive? I'm not sure, but I can see this being played in, like, it doesn't summon and play, so, like, Nova decks wouldn't really play this to get their Nova out, I guess. It's interesting. It definitely is quite interesting. There might be some weird, like, oh, wait. Sucrus Defender could definitely be possible with this. So you go, wait, okay, so before the end of the remove counter from self for each exchange. When the counter, summon the chosen unit from your deck to this row and destroy self. So it summons it to the far right. Which means you can't really cheese out Sucrus. No, you can cheese out, you have to cheese out Sucrus. You play Defender and then you cheese out Sucrus. Ooh, okay. Little summoning circle Skellige action with like Arnachat as well. I can definitely see that. That's pretty funny. That's kind of like the one interaction I'm really thinking about here. I think I actually already have the update. I have to update my game and then I can actually talk about these cards. But I want to go through it with the text. I think it's better with the text. I mean, maybe I should just like look at it through the game. Okay, so we don't have the update just yet. It still takes like 2 hours to update. Okay. Teshamutna Sword. Card type change from artifact to special. Ability change to damage an enemy by 5. Repeat once for each status it has. Okay, so this is kind of like interesting. So it deals like 10 to... Oh, that's pretty funny, actually. That is very funny. I'm not gonna lie. This is a very funny card. That's hilarious, actually. I mean, I didn't mind its old effect with the shield, because it has some bamboozle potential, which is kind of funny. Damage an enemy unit by 5. Repeat for each status it has. Huh. So I'm guessing the provision stays the same at 7, right? The card is 7 provisions. It's pretty good, actually. Like, you're almost able to kill the defender, dealing 10 damage to it. Like, it's a good defender stopper. Like, doomed units. A lot of, like, tokens For like example, the thing from the box, you deal 10 damage to that with it. It's pretty good. Veiled units. Oh yeah, dealing with like, oh, this is good against Melusine. This is a big hit on Melusine because you're dealing 10 to Melusine instantly. That's pretty good. This is very good against Melusine. So they play Defender first, but Defender's 9, so you can kill the Defender and then Heatwave the Melusine or something. This is pretty good against Melusine decks, for sure. I think if Skellige is still going to be like... I don't think they changed the way that Sigvald works, so I think Skellige will still see a lot of play. So Teshna Mutna is definitely a great addition to sort of stop all of that. Now, Villain Trettenmurph. This could actually be relevant. The timer on Trettenmurph definitely makes sense because it goes off before like all of your units boost. But you're not playing Villain Trettenmurph in like an engine deck anyway, so I'm not sure that's really that relevant, but it definitely is relevant, right? It's not just something you can brush aside. Mastercrafted Spear. This is another one of the reworks where they changed from artifact to special. This card, by the way, used to be one of the strongest cards in early Homecoming. This was such a good card. It would deal 1 damage every turn, but like back in Homecoming, like that was so essential since you were able to just play this on turn 0 or like turn 1 and just like always be able to like deal that extra damage, which was really strong with factions like Skellige. So artifact is better. Provision cost change from 7 to 6. Damage an enemy unit by 6. Death blow, damage another enemy unit by the excess damage. This is pretty good against Revenants or... What is the other card called? Whisper. Forest Whisper. Also, it's good against Swarm. You're able to deal like 1 damage to like 6 1-point units. This is a pretty good card, but at 6 provisions, I am not sure it's gonna be seeing play. I can definitely see sort of like if this was like a bomb, that would be good, but it's not a bomb, right? If it was a bomb for like Madoc decks, that would be a huge boost to those decks. But since it is not, it might just be like a weird sort of tech choice. It's still strong, right? It deals 6 damage regardless of what you hit. So I don't think that's bad, right? And there's no card that actually deals 6 damage, really. A special card that deals 6 damage, except for like Assassination with a certain condition. So that's pretty good. Maybe 6 provisions for 6 damage does not seem that strong. But I mean, they could make it 5, because why would you then play Alzur's Thunder? So yeah, Megascope, as I said earlier with the timer change, big buff to Megascope. Definitely really strong change. Petrie's Filter provision cost change from 7 to 5. And the ability says, boost an allied unit by 3. Order given allied unit Zeal. So that's pretty good. I mean, does it change the card in itself? I mean, the 2 provision buff is actually quite big for certain cards. Something like a Vatier or what's her name? The Grave Eater. Dude, I forgot where. Not Abaya, the other one. Grave Hag. Her name was Grave Hag in original Gwent. I'll just call her Grave Hag. So I think in this case it's pretty decent. Give an allied unit Zeal. Yeah, it is all right. I mean, they didn't change much about the card, but yeah, I mean, the 2 provision nerf is definitely big. Like you can't go wrong with a 2 provision nerf. Like I don't think the card will see play. I think the card's still very underwhelming at what it does, but it can definitely have a big impact on certain decks. Like meme decks will love this change for sure. Like I'm pretty happy with this change. It just opens up a lot of possibilities, as well as like I think Summoning Circle also for like meme strategies opens up a lot of possibilities, like a lot of scary possibilities. Like playing 2 engines, like playing, for example, like playing a Francesca and an Alzur during the same turn seems pretty nuts. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Thunderbolt. Provision cost change from 8 to 5. Ability change to deploy, boosted out by 3. Order boosted. Oh no. No. Why? Why? Why did they do this? Also, by the way, they buffed Aglace with Summoning Circle. Summoning Circle now actually kind of is insane with being able to play Sienna and Defender during the same turn. I'm just saying. Summoning Circle might be a bit more scary than I thought it was. This card actually seems pretty crazy. But this Thunderbolt change, I think, has officially killed Aglace, which, as bad as it seems, but it's honestly a good buff. To the card itself, this is actually quite huge because it's got a little uninteractivity. It's not entirely uninteractive, but it definitely is a big hit to the decks that actually would play this card. So I'm not sure this is going to be a big change for the card itself and will put it into playability range. But these are definitely big changes for sure. All right, next up we have Wyvern Scale Shield. Card type change from artifact to special. Provision cost change from 7 to 4. Ability change to boost an allied unit by 4 and give it a shield. While in your graveyard, when you play a unit, give it a shield, then banish self. Whew, this honestly is a very big change to the literal worst card in the game. So now officially, Ale of the Ancestors is the worst card in the game, in my opinion. I don't know a single card that is worse than Ale of Ancestors. The card doesn't fit into any deck. And this card is actually pretty darn strong, honestly. Like, really, really good. As a 4 provision card, just giving a shield to any defender is pretty nuts. And there's so many cards that just become so much better when given a shield. Emir, for example. We have Kahir as well. These are all just really, really, really scary cards once they have a shield. So, gonna be looking forward to. I think this one will be played mostly in Northern Realms though, with Ragnar synergies. But I mean, yeah, it's still a pretty good card. Like this is a good change. I really like this change. I like what they did with both the spear and the scale shield. I think scale shield is actually superior to spear because this card actually has a very powerful effect for sure. All right, now let's move on to monsters. Arrakis Queen, ability change to deploy. Consume an allied unit. Alright, order, spawn, and play Arrakis Nest. Oh, okay, so now I got an order. Death Wish. Spawn a base copy of the consumed unit on this row. That's kind of good. Like, it used to be... Alright, if you played in... This is a big change, actually. Because now you can kind of, like... You can swarm, and... You don't have to eat an insectoid to do that. So this might be pretty good with... Yeah, something... Oh, yeah, the thing is, this is actually quite nice because the fact that it is an order makes it quite playable in something like Kiki Queen, right? So you can pair up the queens. You can make a queen deck, dude. I'm looking forward to that one, actually. Old Spear Tip Asleep, adjusted to include new... I don't think it makes a big difference for Old Spear Tip. Ritual Sacrifice, name change to Brewis Ritual. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This brings back memories. This is what the card used to be in Beta Gwent. It was actually called Brewis Ritual, if I remember correctly. I mean, it has to. Yeah, this was Brewis Ritual. Yeah. Card type change from special to unit. All right. Power set to 5. Provision from 8 to 11. Wow, okay. Death Wish. Summon 2 random bronze Death Wish units from your deck to this row. Wow. This is insane with the stratagem. The Death Wish stratagem on this card, you can thin your deck like by 6 cards even if you also have the Abaya. That's crazy. Morntard, that was the name of the card, by the way. I just remembered. Morntard, yeah. No, but this is pretty good. The only problem I have with this is I would have really liked it to not be random, but different Bronze Death Wish units. Because if you summon 2 Arcaspore, it's not that good. You would have to cut Arcaspore from your deck because of this card. Because the card basically fulfills the Archospore ability anyway, right? Because, you know, like, it thins your deck by like 2 cards. This is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy. They had to put it at 11 as well because of a Karen Theory, which is funny. Yeah, this is a big change. This is a pretty nutty card. Like, if your opponent, like, you can get instant value out of this with your leader ability, Overwhelming Hunger. You can kind of wait a few turns to sort of go full ham on this as well. It's kind of crazy. This is a pretty crazy card, for sure. I'm looking forward to what people will do with this, or if it will put Death Wish into a viable position. Alright, Hybrid. Ability change to deploy melee. If a unit was consumed during this turn, boost self by 4. Okay, but it's deploy. Okay, so I was wondering if it was if it worked on if it was on the field. No, but it has to be a deploy. Okay, deploy range consume an allied unit. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good change to the card that literally made no sense. It was just a bad Vran Warrior, which is now 4 provisions. Still keeps the armor. That's actually quite big. Vran Warrior keeping its armor seems pretty good. You can also kind of like do cheese with Vran Warrior and Summoning Circle into like a Glusty. That's pretty good. Ooh, yeah. Oh, dude, Summoning Circle might actually be a freaking crazy. The more I think about it, the more this actually is kind of insane. Summoning Circle seems like a really crazy card. Really crazy. Might actually be a bit of a problem at some point. Who knows? We'll find out. Vran Warrior 4 provisions. I like Hybrid. This change is very nice. I think a lot of times you will just use... But I think it's a bit clunky still. It's not as good as the Syndicate one where you have to destroy a Zealot or Zealot. I don't know what they call it. Zealot. Apparently it's a Zealot. So, yeah, interesting. Nilfgaard Masquerade Ball, 14 provisions. Wow. Is that going to make a big difference? I'm not sure. And Amnesty is now 5. Oh, that's a big change. Amnesty at 5 seems pretty good now. Definitely seems a lot better with Devotion decks. So that's interesting. This card was very... people were scared of this card when it was first released with... what was the expansion name? Master Mirror. And it was actually revealed as a 5 provision card, and people were panicking, and then they changed it to 6 because everybody was panicking. But in the end of the day, I think 5 provisions was actually fine for this card. So I'm glad that they changed that now. Northern Realms provision cost changed from 13 to 14. Wow. I 100% agree with this change. This card will still be auto-include. This is like a Fukusia. It's basically Northern Realms' Fukusia. This card has been auto-include in Northern Realms since its release. There's literally no reason not to be playing this card. And this one little provision nerf will definitely make a bit of a difference. So, yeah. Queen Meve is now Timer. Is this relevant? It actually is, right? It actually inspires your entire board. This is actually relevant. This is for her. It's quite relevant because she actually triggers inspired on some units that might not have inspired before that. So that's pretty good. Traveling Priestess ability change to Veil. Deploy gains 0 charges. Whenever this unit is put back into your deck, increases the number of charges by 3. 3 is still a lot though. Boost an ally by 1, okay. Whenever this unit is inspired, gain Zeal. So now you want to have to play this off of AA. You must play this off of AA. But the thing is, that deck plays pincer maneuvers, so you drawing the AA should not be that big of a problem. But it takes away their power in the earlier rounds where they're not allowed to just slam Amphibious Assault to find certain cards. They have to actually be very careful with the resource management now. And because the deck itself never actually played any sort of boost cards, did it? No, it didn't. So this actually is some relevant. It is a bit relevant. I'm not sure how relevant it is going to be, but it definitely will affect the deck slightly, where it won't be like the best deck, or like the most uninteractive deck ever. So yeah. Siege Master power change from 2 to 1. Armor change from 0 to 1. So now it's a 1 armor. I really like this change because I thought Siege Master was playing for way too much tempo, especially if you draw 2. Like, the thing with Siege is, like, it's supposed to be a slow deck, but Siege Master just gave it that mega extra tempo. Like, you want to have a slow setup with Siege engines. And this definitely slows down the deck slightly. At 5 provisions as well, I'm not sure this card will see play. No, it'll still be pretty good. But this is definitely a big nerf. And I actually like this nerf a lot. So, yeah. Because I think Siege Master in general, it was very overtuned with the fact that it also had an order ability. Yeah, I like this change. This is definitely reduces the power of the deck by a significant amount. Scoia'tael, Bruva Hoog. Ability change to gain 1 armor for each dwarf in your hand. Barricade at the end of your turn. Boost all dwarfs with armor on this row by 1. Then lose 1 armor. Oh, wow. Okay. That's... I don't like that. Why did they nerf Bruver? I feel like dwarfs are nowhere near like problematic. Like, they're good, but I never thought they were like toxic or anything. It always felt like a very fair deck, dwarfs, because they have like so little control. You could just like try to outvalue them with engines and stuff and like kind of play your own strategy against them. And maybe some RNG hits will happen, but then that's like, you can't really do much against that. So, I don't know. I don't like this thing. I don't like this change. I mean, the card itself is pretty powerful, but I don't think it really deserves to be nerfed this hard. So, yeah. I'm going to be interested to see how much impact this change will have, but I think it will have actually quite a lot of impact, especially when you're dry passing and you only have like 2 turns of this, or like less than 2 turns of this. Sasuke Commander with the new timer, very relevant for this card. Probably the most relevant card with Megascope. So this card will definitely see a surge of play, I think, in the future. Vanadane, power change from 6 to 7. Provision shots change from 7 to 9. Okay, so it got nerfed by 1, right? So now, but 9 provisions in that deck. What made the card so strong was the fact that it was 7 provisions. Now that it's 9, I mean, the 7 power... I think the 7 power is relevant for sure. Definitely is relevant. You can still renew it, which is nice, I guess. But 9 provisions seems pretty expensive, honestly. But I think the card was very, very, very strong. So, yeah. I'm not, like, too fussed about, like, Scoia'tael changes, since I think Scoia'tael should not be nerfed with its current position in the meta. I feel like Scoia'tael is one of the worst factions right now. And the fact that 2 of these changes have been major nerfs to the best decks that Scoia'tael has to offer, I think it's... I don't think Scoia'tael will be very, very good this season. Alright, Zoltan's company ability changed to spawn 2 roadie dwarfs on an allied or increase the number of spawned roadie dwarfs by 1 for each... Oh, that's... Wait, how much was it before? Wait, so how does that change? Spawn 2 roadie dwarfs on an allied road and give each dwarf on that. Oh, it doesn't do the armor anymore. Wait, that's so bad now. What the hell? Why did they change that? Really? They removed the text? It doesn't give 1 armor to everyone? That's so relevant. Jesus, that's a huge nerf. Dude, why did they nerf Scoia'tael so hard? That's crazy. Alright, Crushing Trap with the timer. Is that relevant? I don't think it is. I wouldn't know a situation where this is relevant, but good that they added it. Anchorite Longship. Tooltip adjusted to specify that only units played by the opponent on their side of the board will receive damage. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, because if you're like playing Nilfgaard and you're... Wait. Does Nilfgaard... Wait, when you play Nilfgaard spies, does the Anchorite Longship hit the spy? Actually, don't know. actually kind of don't know. 1 change to Skellige? Wait, what? One change. Okay. Interesting. Ludovicos with the timer. Okay, I don't think that's going to be that great. Eternal Fire Inquisitor is relevant, actually. That it might be relevant in some cases. Not exactly sure which ones. But there will be... And that's it for Syndicate as well. Wow. Okay. Wait, where are Nilfgaard? What? Oh yeah, Nilfgaard got 2 changes. Huh. They changed a lot of neutrals for this one, so they've definitely put their focus on the neutral cards these last 2 months with the expansion and this patch. Not sure how I feel about that. Being able to just, I mean, neutral cards have always been kind of like a gray area in Gwent. And the more like good neutrals exist, the more sort of stale the game gets, because then all the decks kind of want to play the best cards, and if the best cards are neutrals, then every deck can play those cards, right? So yeah, neutrals are a bit of a difficult thing to balance, especially for a game like Gwent, where right now faction identity isn't really that thing. It's kind of just smash as many points out as possible when we're talking about like certain decks that just play like neutrals, as many neutrals as possible. Yeah, in general, I think this is a very big patch. It might like the timer change will have a big impact. The whole I think Summoning Circle is probably the biggest change out of all of these. The more I've looked at like all the cards and stuff and like thought about like combos you can pull off, Summoning Circle definitely is the biggest change, even if it plays for 0 tempo. In a short, like in round 3, this card is just kind of crazy. Or you can play it like on a dry pass and maybe like do something else. I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely a very powerful card now. As far as like, I would have liked more. I don't like that the way they treated Scoia'tael this patch. I think they way over nerfed Scoia'tael here. Like, how could they nerf Brewer, Zoltan's Company, Vanadane, and not even look at Sigvald or Melusine? I don't understand that. For all intensive purposes, like I don't get why they would like just. I guess I know the devs love Skellige. It's been obvious since like Skellige has been the best faction every freaking time. Like if we're talking the whole history of Gwent, even with beta, Skellige has always been the devs' favorite. It's always been the favorite child. So whenever you see Skellige in patch notes, it's either going to be buffs or it's going to be like pointless changes that don't really make a difference. Yeah, Skellige is just really, really freaking. I don't know. I can't believe they changed Vanadane, but they didn't touch Sigvald. Like, Sigvald could be easily a 9 provision card. Like, easily. In that deck, especially. So I don't fully understand why they haven't sort of looked at that interaction. So, yeah. What else do we have? We got Doom keyword no longer incorrectly indicates that it only affects units. Oh, that's interesting. Dual row cards will now always show the row specific effect highlighted when played. Oh, that's cool. Cards will draw a card, then will no longer perform the second action when a card could not be drawn. Oh! Okay. Wait, but when is that ever the case? Wait, I need to check the game out here. Draw a card, then. Draw a card, then. So draw a card, then discard. So if you're... I mean, how would this ever actually... Wait, what are instances where... Wait, does that affect Burna? It might actually affect Burna, right? Draw a card... Oh! Does that actually not work with Burna anymore? That's actually a big nerf to Burna. Dololux Ornament becomes uninteractive when there are no units in the player's deck. Oh, really? I didn't know that was a thing. Figgis had no longer... No! No, that's the biggest change. The pointless zeal on Figgis. Your Reworked's ranged ability no longer summons the opponent's unit to a random row. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Brand's started the game able to not correctly progresses veteran contracts. Oh! Wow. Okay, that speeds things up. Sunset Wanderer is no longer able to sometimes trigger the Ring of Favors banish effect. Really? Oh, I didn't know that existed. Sunset Wanderer no longer be summoned to the board if transformed by the mysterious puzzle box. Really? Ah, yeah, I saw that. That's pretty funny. I saw that bug. Cowitch's Saboteur no longer skips its damage when attempting to target a unit on a full row and being unable to move it. Oh, that's pretty good though. That's actually quite huge. So it actually works on a full row now. Alright, Drum Berserker's ability will no longer trigger if it was forced to transform prior to its turn in the end of the turn sequence. I actually don't know how that. I can't really visualize how that works. But yeah, overall thoughts on this patch. I would have liked more. I mean, they reworked a lot of cards, so I can't like I think we got like around, I don't know how many new cards, but we pretty much got like a lot of new neutrals. They didn't rework a lot of the other cards. The Ritual Sacrifice is a huge rework. I like what they did with monsters and Death Wish in general. It's going to be very interesting to see what impact Ritual Sacrifice will have on that deck. It has to be. There's no way you could put a card like this and it won't have an impact on the deck. What else is there? I like Siege Master change. I don't like what they did with Scoia'tael. I feel like these are just like. I feel like these came in at a time where people would just like start playing dwarfs, and then Reddit would complain that people are playing dwarfs, even though dwarfs is not even a good deck. It's just like uproar from the community because you've lost to dwarfs because they have a bit of points here and there. Yeah, I don't like what they did with Scoia'tael. Skellige, I was hoping for more nerfs maybe for the faction. I feel like Skellige is a bit overtuned. Always has been a bit overtuned, but yeah, I don't know how they would nerf Skellige. I mean, there's so many things they could change, honestly, but yeah, they didn't do anything here. Syndicate, I would have liked maybe some buffs to certain cards as well. Like, I would have liked something. They didn't do anything for Syndicate. They just left Syndicate in the dust again. Ugh. All right, whatever. Yeah. A little bit, I mean, I would say if I were to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it a 5. It has some very good things, and it has some very disappointing things. Where I'm definitely curious what some of the thoughts were behind those. But now that we have it, and we're just going to have to live with it. So, yeah, that was my patch review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe for more Gwent content, and I'll see you soon.